program and not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dianne Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you're overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, concerns about the weekly increases in gas prices. In the second watch, sniffing dogs, COVID detection, and other amazing abilities of animals. For our social media question, we ask, what are your thoughts on dogs sniffing and exercising COVID detection? Share your responses on our Facebook page, Love 101 FM, and also on WhatsApp, 876-997-3125, using the hashtag, The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's iCode.
This one is iCode. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get. Warren Buffett.
So true. Good morning, Shivani.
Good morning,
the shooting
Greg.
star.
How are you?
I am doing well, speaking about price and value, how have you been managing with the weekly petrol increases? Especially with that Benz that you drive. I've been listening to that song, How are you managing, Shivani, with that Benz that you drive?
Well, you setting me up?
Yes. On public radio. Across Jamaica and across the world. Tell us.
I'm not answering. Goodbye.
All right, so the first watch will be back after this break.
Hey, can you sing? Are you a poet? You got a big talent, don't you? And want others to see? Then it's time to show your motion on Love FM's Picnic Jamboree, the second edition. Love 101 is inviting you to be a part of the Picnic Jamboree competition. All you have to do is submit a 1-minute video of yourself or a friend singing a song or performing a poem. Submit entries via WhatsApp to 876-568-4744. That's 876-568-4744. Attach your name, age, school, and the title of the piece. Entries will be uploaded to Love 101's Facebook and Instagram pages for public voting.
Videos must be submitted by Friday, May 21. Voting commences on Tuesday, May 25 and ends on Friday, May 28 at noon.
The top 5 videos with the most likes will be revealed inside Hope Rocks Saturday, May 29. And we will also announce the winning video. So get to recording now and submit your entry to show your talent right here on Picnic Jamboree on the family station, Love 101.
When I sing to him, the praise comes out from deep within with a heartfelt song. I praise.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dianne Toussaint. Now, for those of us who drive vehicles and buy the petrol to make them go, the price of gas seems to be forever going up. And for the last few weeks, the increases have been obvious and sometimes overwhelming. This includes increases in diesel oil and kerosene. So, what's up with the gas prices? Why is all this happening? Who are to be blamed? And when will we see the prices going consistently in the opposite direction? Well, to answer these and other related questions, we have online Ms. Dianne Parram, President of the Jamaica Gasoline Retailers Association, and Mr. Michael Diamond, President of Consumers Intervention of Jamaica. Good morning to you both.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Dr. Toussaint.
Yes, morning, Ms. Parram. Mr. Diamond, are you with us?
Yes. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you now. Good morning, sir.
Yes. Good morning.
Good to have you both. Let me begin with you, Ms. Parram, and congratulations on your appointment. Why are we experiencing increases in gas prices across the island and on such a consistent basis?
Good morning again, Dr. Toussaint. Thanks for having me, and good morning to your listeners. Well, the function of the pricing in Jamaica is from the world market. So we are earlier this year, we were not concerned, particularly when it was increasing. When we had that freeze in Texas, when we had a reduction in capacity, we were not concerned at that time. However, what we are finding now, our continuous tracking has shown us that since the beginning of this year, there has been a $37 increase in 87 and a $38 increase in 90, and 22 for diesel and $27 increase for ULSD. So what we find is when you see that $3, that $2.87, when there's a decline, we find that it's a marginal decrease. But when it's an increase, it is $3, $2. So the accumulated impact is the numbers that I quoted before. And what we want to say is that when gasoline prices increase continuously, it affects every industry. It affects transportation, it affects delivery, it affects manufacturing. And it's that inflationary effect that concerns us most, and for our customers, the commuting public.
So when we drill down, Ms. Parram, why are these increases happening? From the core of it, why is it happening?
There's concern about the pricing mechanism that Petrojam use. We have had discussions with them. We understand the process, but there are some discretionary components of that pricing mechanism that we believe it cushions the weekly price increase. However, what we are expecting is that there must be some balance of economic and social agenda for the country. There must be some balance where that is concerned, in terms of pricing of the product, because of the impact that rising prices can have on the economy and the country.
You seem to be zeroing in on Petrojam. And I've heard in other discussions, persons are going back to things like Gulf reference prices, what's going on in the U.S. now, in the Middle East. What's your take on that, Ms. Parram?
Those are factors, I agree. Those are factors. When as I mentioned earlier, when there was a freeze in Texas the other day, we expected those increases. However, there must be a mechanism in light of this pandemic. There must be some mechanism, creative especially, to implement short-term measures in light of the pandemic to offset the impact of these prices. 18 months ago, the world market had prices in negative. We did not get free gas in Jamaica at that time, did we? So at the time, there was some component that balanced the equation. So all we're saying is that there are times when we have to try to balance that equation as well in order to benefit the social and economic agenda of the country.
And the ball you're putting in the court of Petrojam.
Sure.
Okay, interesting. Mr. Diamond, as a consumer advocate, what has been your experience and what are your main concerns in this regard, sir?
Well, I definitely share the same concern as Ms. Parham because it does affect our economy on such a wide scale because this is not just it's a commodity, which means it's a necessity for so many. Now, the challenge that we do have is that there is a mystery concerning the formula that Petrojam is using in order to set the prices. And
you said, Mr. Diamond?
it's a mystery. And I say it's a mystery because this I was asked this question several years ago. And what I mentioned then is still present today that there is no transparency that allows us to be able to understand how they're setting their prices. And these weekly increases, there are no correlation with it at times with what is happening on the world market. Now, of course, there are very colorful or very, wonderful explanations to say, well, this is what it's tied to the world market. Yet there's a misunderstanding where that is concerned as well, because the world market price is not necessarily the price that Petrojam is using, because Petrojam is setting prices based on finished products and not necessarily on the price of crude. So what we have now is that it's almost like a take it or leave it when there are underlying issues that have been present for so many years, that could actually affect us being able to pay lower costs, but yet still those recommendations are not being implemented.
Why would you think that is so, Mr. Diamond? I mean, what do you think is really going on?
Well, really, I mean, from a consumer perspective, one of the challenges that we have as consumers is that oftentimes we do not galvanize our power as consumers in order to effect sustainable changes. Because if this is a situation that's been going on for many years, as a matter of fact, every time there's some type of controversy, what happens is that the government implements some type of committee, some type of commission to do reports. And these reports are made, findings and recommendations are presented, and then they just go to collecting dust. So there's nothing, it just goes back to business as usual. So when we're looking that so many years have passed, the same issue, the same concern about the pricing mechanism, the lack of transparency, we are facing a condition now that we can't always have the government involved in certain things because they're not holding themselves accountable. And this is a part of the challenge that we have. If it was a private entity, ultimately, those changes would have been implemented already because, we would have been able to actually push and press this issue a lot more rather than having the government with their PR stunts and, their, these broken promises that has been happening because
Mr. Diamond?
Yes, you're hearing me.
Yeah, I'm hearing you now. Yes, I didn't hear what you said a couple seconds ago. I'm sorry.
No, but basically that successive administrations have made promises regarding the Petrojam situation to help us as consumers, and that is not happening. There are indirect factors that can affect the costs that we're bearing. And of course, anything that is happening internationally, especially around the region of oil producing countries, and even with the US being involved, it will affect us ultimately. Yet, there are some local national issues regarding Petrojam standing alone that needs to be addressed regardless of what's happening internationally. And I believe Ms. Parham did touch on that a part of the factor that we have here is that Petrojam is not making a profit, regardless of how much PR stunt is happening. It's not making a profit. It is not beneficial to the national concern of Jamaica. And many reports have came back with this conclusion, but nothing is being done to address it.
Tell you what, Mr. Diamond, hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break and be right back.
Jamaica Banana Board, Green Gold, Life Health, and the Environment. The time brought to you by the Jamaica Banana Board is
7:15.
Yummy jamboree, the yummy roll up the sweet and ties. Jam in a miggle, make everything nice. Never taste nothing like this before. One bite and you will crave for more. Nice, man. What a vibes with me. Come in for what a vibe. It's a jamboree. What a jamboree. A yummy roll me need. Yummy jamboree. Join the jamboree. Run down to the corner shop or supermarket and hold your snack. Yummy jamboree jam roll. Celebrate the flavor. Come celebrate yummy jamboree.
Labor Day, holiday this year that are the pre and a May 24 this year and now the 23. COVID there a road, yeah, it a lock down the place, so stay home, stay safe and clean up your space. Clean up the yard, you're not going nowhere. Turn out your yard that the hashtag a trend, yeah. Ready up, listen and follow me there. Me go so ropes.
99.9% of germs now a chance cause me use me sanitizer. Just work with it, incorporate and stay home labor day cause the option they wiser. Lockdown cause the cases them a run up. Go on inna the yard go plant a tree and make it come up. Shade it a go give inna the summer and a go burn up. We a plant up the tree so we environment a turn up.
Workers week inna the mix too.
Yeah, here we
start palm May 17.
We clearly
done palm May 24.
Well, clearly
stay home, stay safe, get the message, share it.
99.9% of germs now.
This Labor Day, Monday, May 24. Stay home, stay safe, and clean up your space. A message from the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport.
Okay, love, make a list. For the fritters, we're gonna need to buy saltfish. Okay, flour. Got it. Scotch bonnet. Yep. What about eggs? You're right. We do need some liquid self-contained investment packages that appreciate over time until a breakpoint results in delicious dividends. You writing this down?
When you use InvestorCore, you start to think like a stockbroker. Visit InvestorCoreJamaica.com to learn how. Powered by Sagicor Investments.
Squeeze the flavor.
Squeeze icy.
Squeeze out the juice drink, my favorite fruit drink. I'm only choosing what makes me tune in. That squeeze, yeah, buckle a box please. Yeah, popular on street, yeah, apple a red peach.
Wow.
Squeeze out the real stinger with the lunch or your dinner. What a punch it up in abundance for the winner. That squeeze, the buckle of them away. Like a limeade, we're rocking that in the shade. I make your pants for me.
Squeeze.
Don't ramp with me. Come on for me. I'm a love for me. Like my strawberry. I'm a appleberry.
Let's go.
Release the flavor.
Let's go.
Release the flavor.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dianne Toussaint, and we are addressing or seeking to address concerns about the weekly increases in gas prices. And in so doing, we have online Ms. Dianne Parram, President of the Gasoline Retailers Association, and Mr. Michael Diamond, President of Consumers Intervention of Jamaica. Mr. Diamond, before the break, you were addressing concerns re Petrojam.
Yes, definitely. Again, when we speak about the fact that there have been many studies, many committees and commissions established, and all the reports and recommendations lead to the unprofitability of Petrojam. Recommendations have never been, recommendations collect dust, right? And because of this consistency with going with business as usual without making any of the necessary changes, we're going to continue to see these price fluctuations, which is basically contrary to our economic development, especially to the individual consumer, because this is very costly. And one of the misleading things that I imagine that Ms. Parham can also lend some clarity to is when there's an announcement of whether there'll be an increase or decrease in gasoline prices, is that the consumer believes that once they drive to the location, that they should see that decrease automatically. And it doesn't happen that way, because that decrease that is mentioned in the news is not instructive to all gasoline retailers that they're supposed to lower their prices. That is actually a price that goes directly to the multinationals, which may not necessarily pass those discounts on to the retailers. So
what about Mr. Diamond, the other end of the spectrum? Are the increases instantaneous?
Absolutely. That's one thing that consumers do complain about, that once there's a mention of increase, they see the increase. But once there's a mention of a decrease, they don't see that decrease. And it is really disingenuous for that to occur when in fact it goes to the multinationals and it's not necessarily passed on to the retailers
An
that will
interesting
pass
point.
it
Let me
on to the
bring in Miss
consumer.
Parham there. Miss Parham, you want to respond to that? The disparity?
Yes, I would agree with that, particularly in the corporate areas. As an example, what we are aware of is that haulage rate for the corporate area would be the same, yet no two stations in the corporate area gets gas at the same price. That is of concern too. So we understand there would be a rate for haulage to certain areas. We are thinking that certainly in the corporate area, there should be one rate, but what we find is that each station gets a different price. Again,
From who?
that's
From who, Miss Parham?
from the marketing companies.
Oh?
From the different marketing companies.
Oh?
So we have an ex-refinery price. However, that's one rate, and varying amounts are added to that to sell to different locations based on, I guess, different business models or different functions of the marketing company. That is also of a concern to us.
So what have you been doing with your organization? I mean, you are president of JGRA. What has been done to address these concerns?
We have been constantly advocating. We use these kind of programs as well as private dialogue with the companies to raise our concerns. Something else that I want to raise as well is that where we watch with concern the intervention of marketing companies into the retail trade. We have several marketing companies that operate retail locations. What that does is that you get both the retail margin and the wholesale margin. And so you are selling me and you're also competing with me. We have a concern with that as well, because that also affects pricing.
And you have had audience with Petrojam, I'm taking it.
We have had, and Petrojam has had several discussions with us. We understand the pricing mechanism. We have put the factors down. We understand it. But our big issue or concern is in the time of a pandemic, there has to be some balance for economic and social agenda of the company. Yesterday, in the minister's presentation to the House of Representatives, he said that there is no discussion about a public-private partnership for Petrojam. There is now also plans for IMF review of the pricing. So, as Mr. Diamond said earlier, there are several times that these things are done. They're said how far they go and how far-reaching the impact is what is concerned to us. There has been advocacy, there has been dialogue, there has been reports, there has been many things. What we want to see now is the result of all this work and effort that has been put into it so that the consumers can benefit.
How confident are you, though, Ms. Parham, that the members of your organization have done everything humanly possible to aid their customers, their clients in this regard? Because there are, as you know, some gas stations that have longer lines because their prices seem more reasonable, even in this crisis, vis-a-vis other gas stations.
And that's what I said. That's what I mentioned earlier. When a marketing company is in the retail trade, that marketing company may sell the retailer next door to them for the price that they're selling on the board.
So they need to join that marketing company then, get the gas from that company then.
No. What we mean is that the marketing company is operating that location. The marketing company is the one who's operating that gas station. And the marketing company is the one that is selling to the next gas station that is next door to it. So therein lies another level of disparity, because the marketing company has the wholesale margin and they have the retail margin. So they are going to purchase at the ex-refinery price, so they can put just the wholesale margin on that. However, when they put that wholesale margin on that, that's what they sell to a retailer for.
Yeah.
The retailer
before,
has their overheads to cover, and their fixed costs, so they have to put their margin on it as well. So
yeah.
it concerns us when we see the marketing companies so involved in the retail trade.
Yeah. Before I listen, I would have feedback from Mr. Diamond. I just wondering, why are the changes made weekly and not fortnightly, Miss Parram? Can you give us an idea why? I often wonder.
It's on the Petrojam website. I think it's the balance as well. I think it's the balance to have that same based on the pricing mechanism. It's better to have it weekly than fortnightly. And even if it were fortnightly, we would say, why is it fortnightly and not monthly? So we don't have an issue with it being weekly. We believe it's transparent.
Okay. Mr. Diamond, your response to what Ms. Parram just said?
Well, yes, the Petrojam will say that it has a lot to do with foreign exchange as well, and because it changes so often, that is the reason why they would like to do it. They do it on a weekly basis versus fortnightly. Yet again, there's a discretionary number or price that is added to the actual formula that Petrojam uses to set prices, and that is where the mystery comes in because there's no transparency for how that discretionary number is chosen, and that is where we have that issue. So the fact that Petrojam retains all the power, the fact that the multinationals are actually competing with their retailers, that is a problem. That is a significant problem because, again, as was mentioned, when the prices are being announced weekly, the consumer is being misled because this is not actually true that that price will pass on to the consumer. This is for the multinationals. So because these marketing companies are actually getting this discount, they're not passing it on to the retailers, whom will then pass it on to consumers. So we have this issue that there isn't clarity, there isn't transparency, and because of that, the whole concept of how Petrojam structures its pricing and the whole idea of how it informs of these prices to consumers, it needs to be checked. And the fact that the minister mentioned that there needs to be more transparency after so many years, again, it is just a promise that is an empty promise for consumers. And especially this economic time, we need consistency. We definitely need consistency because we can't plan because of this inconsistency.
Yeah, as we wind down, Mr. Diamond and then Ms. Parram, what advice would you give to consumers, therefore, as they continue to grapple with the price increases? Mr. Diamond.
Of course, the key for us consumers, again, is always shop around, shop around. As a matter of fact, once we identify locations with lower prices, then we need to form a WhatsApp group and begin to share this information. Unfortunately, as Ms. Parham identified, this might be one of the multinational marketing companies that we're supporting, unfortunately, but we as consumers have to gravitate to the lower prices because, our pockets can't afford it. So again, as consumers, shop around for better pricing. And again, if you find places that are too overpriced, don't spend your money with them because, again, cash is king, so we have to use our purchasing power to demonstrate our frustration.
All right, Ms. Parham, you have the final word.
I would just want to say to consumers that even though you look at pricing, customer service is also critical, especially for female consumers. Customer service is key, and it's not only the pricing that you look at. So look at the overall package and where you're comfortable, shop where you're comfortable.
Okay, well said. Want to thank you both for joining us this morning. Have a productive day.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me. Have a good
Great.
day.
All right, listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
Bank Live online banking is your quick and easy banking that's safe and secure. Sign up today. Visit jnbank.com. JN Bank will help you find a way. The time is
7:30 on the Sound of Love.
At Digicel, we rate you like family, so we'll make you these 5 promises. We will provide you with the best LTE and broadband experience. We will support you 24/7. We will be transparent, no hidden charges or tricky terms and conditions. We will elevate your digital experience. We will listen to your feedback and reward your loyalty. We will keep these 5 promises to you because together we are so much better. Digicel, better together.
Tropical race 4 disease, TR4, is a soil-borne disease that has the potential to wipe out the Jamaican banana and plantain crops. Farmers and visitors must disinfect shoes and tools before entering farms daily. If your banana or plantain crops seem to be wilting, call the Banana Board at 876-922-5490 or 876-922-4327. Jamaica Banana Board, Green Gold, Life Health and the Environment.
Engineers, architects, builders, students of the built environment. Here's your chance to contribute to national development. Submit your architectural designs for low-cost, sustainable and climate-resilient houses under the National Social Housing Program Design Competition. Download and complete a registration form from the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation's website and submit individually or with your team by 4 p.m. on May 25. Email completed application forms to lowcosthousinggdesign@megjc.gov.jm, and just like that, you could be on your way to competing for the grand prize of $1 million. For rules, regulations, and competition guidelines, visit megjc.gov.jm and opm.gov.jm.
Look out for your neighbor. Give a helping hand with the children. Bear one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. Galatians 6 and verse 2. Let's work together to make Jamaica a gentler, kinder society. A message from the Church of the Open Bible, 12 Washington Boulevard. Join in our worship service Sundays at 8 a.m. right here on Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dianne Toussaint. Let's look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. In the Gleaner, busmen, cabbies gear up for fare hike strike. Wow. And then man freed of murder after 9 years in jail to remain behind bars in other case. Trinidad looking to benefit from U.S. vaccine pledge. So too Jamaica. In the Observer, Westmoreland put on dengue warning. Wow, already dealing with COVID and now dengue is up on us. And then we see in the Observer, gag order placed on St. Anne sexual assault case involving 13-year-old girl. And we see also in the Observer that Jamaica eyeing US $2.8 billion investments in energy sector by 2037, says VAS. Those are some of the major stories and headlines in the newspapers. Well, coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our social media question. What are your thoughts on dogs sniffing and COVID detection? Please leave a comment on our Facebook page, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. Soon come back.
you're invited to listen to Dollars and Cents every Thursday at 8:16 a.m. We'll give you tips on how to make your money count, how to save, and how to grow your worth. It's all inside Dollars and Cents, brought to you by BPM Financial Limited, taking you higher. That's Dollars and Cents every Thursday at 8:16 a.m. on the family station Love 101.
Here is a reminder from Love 101, the family station, as we face the COVID-19 pandemic. Masks are effective only when used in combination with frequent hand cleaning with soap and water or alcohol-based solutions. Wear a mask that is lined with 2 or more layers. When taking it off, ensure you dispose of it properly. I'm Nigel Wilkinson from Love 101, reminding you to protect yourself while protecting others. Stay safe and keep it locked on Love 101, the family station. If you want to understand God's promises and plans for you, then you need to start in the pages of the Bible. Moving you forward in your relationship with Jesus Christ, that's what Back to the Bible is all about. Discover truth, wisdom, and direction for your life. Listen to Back to the Bible every weekday afternoon at 12:30 right here on Love 101 FM, the family station.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dianne Toussaint. Let's join Shivani for a look at how our Facebook and WhatsApp friends answered today's question. Oh, I'm understanding that we don't have any feedback right now, so we are going right into the second watch. Now, some months ago, Professor of Public Health Peter Figueroa reportedly suggested that the government use dogs to help with COVID-19 screening. And his suggestion came amid growing concerns that more needs to be done re early detection of the virus, especially at our ports of entry. But how will that work? And what is it about dogs and other animals, really, which enable them to do such amazing things? Well, to answer these and other related questions, we have joining us Warrant Officer Class 2, Norman Brown, and he is the president of the Jamaica Kennel Club, and Dr. Patrick Craig, veterinarian. All right, I got it right. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning.
Morning to you both. Thanks for joining us this morning. Pronounce that word for me again, Dr. Craig.
Veterinarian. Veterinarian. It's kind of a difficult.
Yeah,
veterinarian.
Okay. Doc, in simple terms, explain to us why and how dogs are able to sniff and detect COVID-infected individuals.
Well, it's kind of difficult for the the normal human being to understand, because dogs are so much different from human beings. What is sight for a human being? We go around the world, and we detect everything by sight, whereas the dogs, they don't see as well as we do, but they have a great sense of smell. And let us put it into perspective what that means. A human being, we have about maybe 5-6 million receptors in our nostrils olfactory receptors that we can use to smell and detect things, and and we use them very well. 5-6 million seems like a lot, but if we compare that to a normal dog, they have around about 300 million. So it is quite profound. It is said that a dog can smell maybe 10,000 to 100 times better than a human being. So no wonder they could detect, tiny molecules. They could even detect stuff without odor, chemicals. They have the abilities to do that. They have small organs in their nostril that is attached to the brain. And it works very well. Human beings.
Hold on a while there, Mr. Craig. I'm not hearing you as clearly and loudly as I think I should. Is there any way you could correct that?
Okay, I don't know if you're hearing me now.
Oh, 100% better.
Yes.
All right. Just go again into your mention about this 300 or so.
Yes. So what I was saying is that a dog, if we compare them to a human being, whereas a human being would have maybe 5-6 million olfactory receptors in our nostrils to actually detect small stimuli and smell stuff. If you compare that to a dog, 5-6 million in a human being, a dog may have around about 300 million. So it's quite profound. They can detect small, very minuscule odors that we don't have the ability to detect, and they could even pick up chemical stimuli that have these stimuli has no odor, but they could pick that up because they have special organs inside their nostril that is attached to the brain that is able to function and does that very well.
So how will they be able to deal with the COVID thing now, in terms of specifying that and detecting that as against other things?
Yeah, so you notice that you have dogs in the airport, you have dogs everywhere, and they are trained to detect specific odors. And what happens is that with COVID-19, like any other disease in the body, there are little substances that are produced in the body, and we call these volatile organic compounds. And with every disease, there's a specific compound, and all these compounds will have very different smell. Now, if you take 10 human beings, they might smell the same to us when they're sweaty, but to a dog, everybody has a different smell. Because a dog could detect their odor. A dog could detect its odor from amongst maybe hundreds of people. It could just walk up, smell everybody, and they know that specific odor. So what happened is that in what the study that they did is that they took pharyngeal swabs from the pharynx and the nose, nostrils of people who are infected with COVID-19, and they trained the dogs to pick up this specific smell. So all of these volatile organic compounds that are coming off the body, the dogs are trained to pick that up. And once they go into a place where you have thousands of people, if you have positive people inside there, the studies are showing and the results are showing right now that the dogs are able with almost 94% accuracy to pick up people who are positive with COVID-19, even before conventional tests can show that these people are positive.
Wow. Warrant Officer Brown, still there with us, sir? Warrant Officer Brown?
I'm still here. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Thanks. All right. As far as you are aware, sir, how widespread is the practice of using dogs for detection purposes?
All right. So I see where Finland would have used the practice in their airport, and I think it was 95% accuracy when they actually tested it, if my memory serves me well.
Wow.
So it is, as we're in this new phenomenon with the COVID and everything. It's a new way of doing things. So long ago we knew that dogs have that ability, that sense of smell. Long ago we knew it. So the practice, I don't think it is widespread, no, but we already knew that it is possible that our dogs can actually assist in doing the same, and as such they would have done it. In Finland first, I think it's the first area who have tried that method in using our dog to assist in aiding persons who may have the COVID.
And as far as you're aware, Warrant Officer, are there other things that dogs are used for in detecting?
Right, based on, as I said before, dogs use their sense of smell to communicate. All right, this is how we use our eyes to tell us that whatever is coming. That's what they use to communicate to effectively. So we have where dogs are concerned, we have canine areas in the Jamaica in JDF. We have the canine division as well, and the police division as well, that they use dogs to assist in locating drugs at the airport and various areas. Also for dead bodies around as well. So they can train them to do a variety of things. They have the ability to do that.
Yes, and in your experience, Warrant Officer Brown, how has that ability of a dog or dogs helped you impacted you and your family?
All right. So when you talk about a dog, the way a dog, based on the fear. Some people, so there's a myth that say that dogs bring about some amount of fear and persons who don't really know much about dogs.
Wait,
right?
but as you mentioned that, warrant officer, is it true that dogs can detect fear?
Yes, they can detect fear in you as well. All right. They can detect fear. So as I said before, where security is concerned, the dog, the type of dog that they have. So we mostly have our German Shepherd and our Rottweiler in Jamaica and Labrador. Those are the more dominant dogs we will have in Jamaica, where the registration aspect is concerned. So for
I'm so sorry, warrant officer. We are on a break. Hold that point. We'll be right back.
Return to Love 101, the family station, approaching 7:46. We'll go.
Yo, my G. Ah, you see my number? Well, duh. Nah, man, me just switch my number to Flow. And got 30 days of unlimited data to do everything plus a free LTE SIM. 30 days unlimited everything? Yeah, man. Plus, there's more. After 30 days, I can activate any plan to continue enjoying unlimited YouTube, social, calls, and text to any network. We need all of that too. Yeah, you need to
switch to Flow and keep your number. Visit your nearest Flow store today. Conditions apply.
Now more than ever, Protex reminds you to wash your hands. A 40-second hand wash with soap could help prevent COVID-19. Look for Protex at your nearest store.
We're all in the Sagicor bonus savings. We're all in
Sagicor Bank bonus savings account. The pooled savings account from Sagicor Bank.
We're all in.
Bonus savings account pays you monthly interest, plus a bonus each month to top up your savings.
In the Sagicor bonus savings.
The bigger the pool of savings, the bigger the bonus. Together, everyone earns more with
Sagicor bonus savings. We're all in.
We're all in with Sagicor Bank bonus savings account.
I'm looking for a new pizza joint with that perfect crust. My car needs a bit of a tune-up, and my pregnant wife needs something from the pharmacy. So I turned to the printed yellow directory, and in an instant, the pizzas are ordered, the oil change is booked, and the thing that I'm not allowed to say out loud has been purchased for my wife. Problem solved. When you need something quick, do yourself a favor. Flip through the printed yellow directory. Stop searching, start finding. Yellow, we know local.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. We are discussing the whole matter of sniffing dogs, COVID detection, and the amazing abilities of animals. And in so doing, we have online Dr. Patrick Craig, vet, and Warrant Officer Class 2 Norman Brown, President of the Jamaica Kennel Club. Warrant Officer Brown, before the break, you were telling us about your experiences with dogs in this regard.
Right. So as I was saying that where the protection of the home is concerned, when you have a dog, especially a Rottweiler or a German Shepherd, they protect the family. You can get additional training for that dog to respond in the way which you want them to respond. For instance, a dog can train to only attack when there's someone comes in your dwelling, or when the person is going out. Also, you have dogs that are trained for persons who have maybe eye problem, can't see properly. You have dogs that assist persons like those are working dogs, right? They are the first responder, so to speak. So when you're sleeping, basically, they are always up. And as I said before, the sense of smell, they can smell from a distance. You know, so somebody come maybe with perfume, deodorant, and they can actually sense it to say, okay, this is not someone from my house, and they will make you alert who is there.
Yeah.
Understand? If you actually go out, what happened before? Once I went to work, and I changed my attire, and deodorant and everything, and they didn't recognize me, and they started to bark until they hear the voice.
Yeah.
You know, so that's just the reasonability of dogs that we have. You know, and I think it's something good. They serve a purpose.
Yeah.
You know, they serve a purpose, and it takes program like these to actually enlighten the public as to what we can achieve. Not only the bad publicity about the attacking and everything, but they serve a great purpose in our society. They used to use dogs way back in the days to carry money when the robbers used to attack humans. Then they were feared to attack the dogs.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And stuff like those. They carry mail. Yeah, bearers.
Interesting. Dr. Craig, based on your knowledge of animals, right, beyond dogs, could other animals be utilized in this regard with the COVID detection?
Well, we haven't seen any other animals brought up to the fold for this particular reason. And the reason being is because dog is probably one of those animals, you know, on dry land that has, you know, that sense of smell. There are other animals who have great, you know, eyesight. You know, they could see from very far distances. Whereas, you know, there are, you know, if you look in the oceans, you have animals who have the ability to detect like very faint heartbeat. For example, if a pregnant woman is swimming with a dolphin, they could tell that there's a fetus inside there. You know, once there's a very tiny heartbeat. You know, you have the sharks, for example. They could detect even a drop of blood in the vast ocean. So, you know, these animals are very unique. And, you know, dogs, they live amongst us. Sometimes we don't treat them the way, you know, they ought to be treated. But it's not just the German shepherds and the Rottweilers and those fancy ones. Even the very, you know, the very Jamaica, what we call a Jamaica brown dog, the little one they see running on the road. All of these dogs have that very unique ability. And all dogs.
Dr. Craig?
Say again?
The mongrel you're talking about? Mongrel?
Same one.
Oh.
Even the mongrel, they have this very unique ability, and you know, once you can train them to use it, you know, you could get very great results from these animals. You know, Germany has been using it. Lebanon use it in recent times in stadiums. They've used it in places where you have large groups of people, and these animals were able to detect with 100% accuracy all persons who were COVID-19 negative, and about 94-95% positive with people who are positive. And once they've detected these people, they've taken them out and they've used the conventional PCR test on them, and it confirms that the dog is correct. So even with people who are asymptomatic, not showing any signs, you know, I could come around and look okay, no temperature, no nothing, but the dog could still detect that this person is COVID-19 positive because they have that unique sense of smell, and they could detect all of those little molecules, you know, without even, you know, you don't even have to come close to them. They could detect that from afar off, as the gentleman said, and they could point you out.
All right, Officer Brown. All of this sounds positive. On the other end of the spectrum, what are some concerns as an animal rights individual, a dog owner? What are some of the concerns that you may have in regards to using dogs to sniff for COVID?
All right, so I don't think there's much of a negative point in that point of view. I think the concern that I would have is that we would have as much persons maybe to train and the dog in such manner. All right.
Or to train properly.
Yeah, to train them, because they have to go through that level of training.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that would be the major concern.
Yes.
And then to actually have well, I'm not sure what the government could actually do in enforcing and come about maybe some insurance scheme to actually help persons who may acquire these dogs as well, because it's actually difficult right now to actually import a dog in Jamaica based on the rules that govern certain countries, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as the doctor say, any dog you can train to that, and they actually can actually do that which you train them to do. Some may take a longer time, but they're all trainable. in doing it. So my main concern would actually not have the ability to actually train them effectively, which is the manpower.
Yeah, okay. Dr. Craig, any concerns that you would have? The dogs catch COVID as a result? Dr. Craig?
Hear me?
Yes, I heard you a while ago. Yes, go again, please.
So no, we do not have that concern that dogs will suffer from COVID-19. We have not seen that. We've only seen cases where cats are able to carry the virus, but they too do not get sick from it. They do not suffer. The concern I have is that if we are only going to use dog alone, as I said, the positivity rate that they were able to detect is not 100%. So you may have cases where they might not be able to detect everybody. You might have a few slipping through. So, you might only be able to use a dog as an adjunct, and then you'd have to use the conventional testing to actually back that up. But I think other than that, there's really no great concern. The dogs have been used in other places very effectively. And as Mr. Brown said, you're going to need proper training. That's just a must. You're going to need long training, proper training to ensure that the dogs are up to standard, up to scratch. And once you put them out there, we just need to ensure that welfare is not going to be an issue, that the dogs are kept and treated properly and, and not overworked. And apart from that, there should be no other concern.
But did I hear you correct that the dogs, you don't have any case where dogs have contracted COVID virus?
There are no cases where dogs have suffered from the virus. Even if they were tested and they were positive, they have not suffered from the virus because the cells that the virus are able to infect and cause disease and cause mortality are mainly human cells, but definitely not dogs nor cats.
Yes, and well, here's what I want to ask: if even detection takes place. What do you think could happen after that, though, with the dogs? I mean, from the experiences you have been hearing worldwide, have there been any negative things that come out of that, even legally or anything?
No, and even if it can be detected by our conventional test, they do not have the ability to pass it on. So it's not like they could infect anybody, any human being. So that's not something that has been detected. And since 2019. There's been lots of rigorous scientific stuff going on out there, studies, experiments. So far, we haven't been able to detect anything. There's nothing that I found in the literature. There have been cases in cats, I know. We spoke about one with a tiger, I think, last year, but they haven't been able to pass it on to anybody. You may be able to pass it on to your animal, but it's a dead-end host, meaning that they can't pass it on to anybody. So that's where it stops.
Yeah, Warrant Officer Brown, you deal with dogs, and it's your association, your organization. Do you know of any of your members who are willing, who have been approached to be a part of this proposed project?
Well, I'm not. I wasn't told it was a project. Basically, it's new to me. But I don't think that they, based on the persons, well, the members. I think they would agree in assisting in whatever project there is in regards to animals, to use them and to develop them to the best of their ability. So I don't think there will be any negative or personal decline from assisting in this project.
I mean, none at all, no reservations, no nothing.
Well, you may. I mean, so we have so what we'd have to do is education. All right, so education is the key. So let's say this is something new, and so we'd have to educate the public, the members, as to the benefits there is, and then to have them come on board. But to say that no one would decline from assisting, I would be it wouldn't be fair for me to say.
Yeah.
But based on the love that some of our members have for dogs, and because we normally keep dog shows yearly, but because of the COVID situation, we can't. So that goes without say that they would actually participate in such adventure if it does come about.
All right. Thank you very much, Warrant Officer Brown and Dr. Craig, for joining us this morning. Have a productive day, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we continue to set the stage for a discussion of topical and controversial issues. For information or get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-959627. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Miss Kathy Gale, and our guests. I'm Dianne Toussaint, reminding you to be purposeful, faithful, thankful, and watchful as I hand you back to Love in the Morning with Siobhan Blair.
Who let the dogs out?
Have a great day.
You go on, Siobhan. You go on. Rising star. Good star.
Have a great day.
You too. Woof woof.
Need financial breathing space? Switch to a Sagicor Bank mortgage and get a 2-month payment holiday.